Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. We have in this lecture a table that consists of multiple items, multiple cost items, multiple source of cost items, and these elements we have them in form of checklist. I would prefer that anybody, any organization would like to import something from the outside, they should have this checklist with them to make sure that they are not neglecting, they are not forgetting about any type of cost they will face. If this item costs us zero money, write zero in front of this table. No item of this table should be neglected, because if you don't know about this cost item, you are facing a terrible or a horrible or a very big mistake in doing business with international importers and exporters and carriers without knowing everything about the cost that we will face. Because we don't want to have goods from the outside to the local market that will cost us a double price or a triple price. It's no way to sell it. Personally, I try to do some ideas about having some goods imported from Egypt, for example, to be here in Gaza, Palestine, in form of understanding the circle and doing a real business, understanding the relations. And these cost items are not on the book, but I need to think in practice how they are performed, how we can build relation, how we can have goods, and the time we wait until the goods are inside Gaza, Palestine. Personally, I tried this for multiple items that talks about the clothes, or we think about the stationery, for example, and some kind of items of food. It's not an easy thing you can do, and you need to have trust in yourself and abilities, and you need to have patience. Patience means you will face multiple problems, we will face multiple cost items, and you will face multiple documentations and procedures and risks and problems. But if you insisted on an idea and try to complete the idea, you have the full understanding of the cost items. I encourage everybody to try to do things related to these issues and try to import and export things from Gaza, Palestine, in order to take the risk and responsibility and to better understand, is this item cheaper than other items and we can have it in Gaza, Palestine, we can sell it in the market? Can we have an item from the Gaza, Palestine to have it outside Gaza Strip in order to sell it to the outside market? How about the cost and the quality and the attention of the customers about our goods and services? We would like to see our economy flourishing and have strong ability to send the goods outside and to have good foreign currencies come to the local market. We want to be a stronger economy, inshallah. Let's see these cost items. I have the idea here. This time we have elements. We need to say that it's the same thing, but we need to say about those elements. And these elements, we have them in a form of checklist. And this checklist is very important for us in order to know more about them and how we can do the calculations in the right format. Let's see the detail. Elements of the total cost of international sourcing. We start with the unit cost. Yes, the basic purchase price. We need to think about the order we do for the producer. There is a purchase price. There is some charges for shipping or for handling. The emergency shipment also added because it takes time, so we need to have extra goods and extra payments, sometimes for some certain elements they are not seen in the time of doing the contract, so make emergency money for the unit price or for the shipment price. Number two, we have the packaging. Yes, with those expensive goods and expensive attention given to the goods that will be delivered. take care that these goods will be handled or sent between multiple terminals or ports. So they should be clear, safe, and have them in the good format. We want to minimize the risk of damage or the problems of the international shipment. For example, the cars, when they move the cars among continents or among the ocean, we have the ocean or the sea, we have the cars are moved on the ships. Usually they have a very thick formula that is use a lubricant, not oil, but something that is heavy in order to cover all the car. Because if this lubricant oil is not covering the car perfectly, it will get some problems in the surface areas. In multiple areas will face some iron problem. Number 3, we have inflation. The prices generally rise in countries over time. Usually we see prices goes up. We don't see something that goes down. Usually the prices, this is because of the inflation. And some countries that higher, they have inflation rates higher than the others. Take care about the goods that you import from. The inflation makes the prices increase. And this is a hidden cost, what you say, it's a hidden cost, extra cost we pay because of the inflation. For example, I purchased something from Egypt, for example, that cost me about 20 Egyptian pounds. The upcoming year when I purchased it, it was 25 Egyptian pounds. This extra 5 pounds, they are according to inflation that happens in the Egyptian economy, for example. Number 4, we have the transport. There is logistics people. There is international transportation. There is shipments among ports and terminals. Ports and terminals in different geographical areas. There is brokers. They will get money because of the shipment. And there is information. We get and we pay money for the operators of this kind of information, for example. We have multiple cost items in the form of transportation. And this one is very expensive in the international purchase. We should take care about this carefully, because if the transportation is very high, usually it makes the goods very expensive for the local consumer. Let me tell a simple story here. Some stationery are imported from Egypt through the traditional way of importing, and we have brokerage people in between. The transportation cost me maybe the same price as the purchase cost. It means the items and prices, they doubled because of the transportation. It's very expensive. So you should make sure that the transportation costs are reasonable. When they add it to the common cost, still the price is cheaper than what we have it in the local market. The customs duty. Money is paid for the government because we have international frontiers and we have to pay money when we have the goods are entering our local governmental areas. The transaction cost, also we pay money for the brokers that do the customs duty clearance, and this money paid for the government or the current for the brokers, also it's very expensive. And take care that when we find some importers working with equipments or cars there is a table of customs duty they pay for the government, and it's very expensive when they add it to the common cost. So this is why when we see the cars here in Gaza, Palestine, or any other nation, we find the prices are very expensive in accordance to what we could purchase the same car in their home country. It's cheaper there. But because of the transportation cost, plus the customs duty cost, plus the trader or the wholesaler, the importer's profit, these are three main very expensive cost items. Another thing should be considered is the insurance. It's money paid for an insurance company to make sure that the transport, the route is safe and there is no risk facing or damaging our goods. Because of the international transactions usually takes place between countries with routes that faces risk, if we have a ship takes the goods from one country to the other, it could be damaged, it could be facing some fire or loss in the equipments or the things that we purchase. So the insurance company will cover the damages or the problems that could happen to our shipment or to the package. This one is added cost to the list of the international cost of ownership. Another one talks about the payment terms. Should we pay in cash, or when we pay, or we are paying when we are receiving when we cash when we do the contract at the spot, or when we pay, or do we do the payment and the payment is due on the shipment time or in the delivery time, or sometimes we have form of tranche payment. It means we pay regularly in some certain circumstances. For example, some materials such as the iron bars that are used in construction, people or organizations producing or exporting these iron bars insisting on having their money on the spot and no way to delay this money for any importer. Another item, which is the additional fees and commissions. We have in between, when we do the international purchase, there is customs brokers, there is transportation operators. We need to pay money for people in between that do the paperwork, do the governmental documentation procedures. If the shipment is delayed, so we need to pay extra money. For example, our ship or our package is delivered at a port. We need to pay extra money. With this money for the brokers doing the documentation, and any day that we face a delay in receiving our shipment, we pay money for the port or the terminal. So we need to do extra money, to do extra paying for these brokers in order to make it quickly as possible, as they can. There is money paid also for the port, as I said, for the terminal, the transshipment. We have the handling fees. When the ship reach the port or the terminal, we need to pay money for the handling fees from the ship until they unload the cargo to the port area. There is administration, money paid for the port. And there's charges paid for the operations of transshipment. It means if we have the goods in this area for some time and we have them to be outside the country after some time. For example, if we have our goods from Turkey, they come to Egypt, ports, Alexandria port, for example, and we need to have them in transit for some time, for weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, until we do the clearance, all the procedures, and we have them to be transferred to Gaza, Palestine. So it's a temporary stay. Our goods will be temporarily stayed in Alexandria ports for some time until they reach another country, which is Gaza, Palestine. There is agent and broker fees. The customs duties, usually when we pay them to the government, we need some agent doing the clearance, and they do the transactions on behalf of us. They are agents for us, and they take usually a transaction cost, fees, or a percentage of the value of these items moved. And these offices, the clearance offices, the agents or the brokers' offices, no way to neglect them until you be big enough to have your own employees doing the work for yourself. Another thing, which is the taxes. There is additional tax paid. Sometimes we say sales tax paid for the country we move the goods inside. This one is rather that it's another format of the duties we paid. So we have the customs duties and we have the taxes. Don't say these are same thing. There is communication cost. You do some telephone calling, traveling, emails, some DHL mails. Yes, you said send for the others. You can add the international bill of this international communications as part of the cost. Usually the travel costs us a lot of money. We need to go to do the contract, have accommodation for some days. We pay money for transportation, for good time, for leisure time, until we be back to the home country. So the cost of the trip is a communication cost. It's added to the bill of the international purchase. We have the payment and currency fees. Yes. The payments for the transactions that happen with the bank. When we do money transfer, we pay a commission for the bank. When we do the bill of exchange or the money clearing, there is fees paid to the bank. When we exchanging the currency, there is what we say a charge given to the bank. And when we have the financial agreements, if do with the hedging or by using the forward or future contracts in the capital markets, also we pay a premium, and there is a brokerage house, so we pay money, extra money for this work. And finally, we have the inventory carrying cost. When we import from the outside, usually we have more stock than usual because it's not easy. It takes a long time to have the goods until they reach us. So we need to have very big warehouses to include the inventory, not the ordinary inventory that covers our work for a few weeks or months, but usually we have it to cover us during the year. So we have opportunity cost, this is an added cost, the insurance for the warehouse, the storage cost, we have some loss taxes, obsolescences, we have people, we have cooling system, we have information system, we have what we say it's the emergency system, We have multiple systems here. Cost us money because we want to keep our eyes open to make sure the inventory is safe and clear. We have a long list of the elements that we should take into consideration when we move to the international purchase. This very long list should be clear enough in our analysis when we take a decision to go to the international markets. And usually we need to do this by a test. This is my advice. If you would like to purchase something from the outside or to export something to the outside, you should do a test for smaller amount of materials. These materials, samples, you want to have them from the outside to the Gaza market, for example, try to do it in a smaller amount and try to check all the points, all the stages, all the cost items that you need to pay money for this sample. And you need to calculate the whole trip cost until you have the goods reach your warehouse here in Gaza, Palestine, for example. If you can do the calculations and you find it in a reasonable price, you can go for a very big one. So my advice is, don't do the feasibility study, don't do the business plan for a commodity that you will import from the outside. What to do? Do it in reality. This is my advice. Do it in reality, but take care. Make it a sample. Don't pay much money for the commodity. You are understanding the route and the cost items that included in the route. And you want to purchase something which commodity will be perfect for you and good for the market, you don't know. But you need to try one item by the other, one by one, until you find an item that suits the market and you can find it good in form of covering the cost and have a reasonable profit at the end. Thank you very much for your careful attention. See you again in another lecture, and goodbye.